Cairo bustled with life. It was Ramadan. The air was thick with the scent of spices and dates. Lanterns lit up the streets at night. People hurried to and fro, preparing for iftar. Among them was Samir, a kind-hearted textile merchant. He was known for his generosity. Samir believed in the spirit of Ramadan. He helped those less fortunate. Samir owned a thriving shop in the heart of the city. His shop overflowed with colorful silks and soft cottons. People came from far and wide to buy his fabrics, but Samir valued kindness above all else. He treated everyone with respect. He believed that true wealth lay in helping others. Samir often helped the less fortunate. He distributed food to the poor. He donated to the local mosque. Samir's heart ached for those struggling to make ends meet. He believed in the power of compassion. He knew that even small acts of kindness could make a big difference. Samir often sat outside his shop in the evenings. He enjoyed the cool breeze and the company of his friends. They would share stories and sip sweet tea. Samir cherished these moments. They reminded him of the importance of community. He believed that everyone deserved a helping hand. A harsh summer had descended upon Cairo. The sun beat down mercilessly. The Nile River, the lifeblood of Egypt, had shrunk to a trickle. Crops withered in the fields. A severe drought had gripped the land. The people of Cairo felt the weight of hardship. Food became scarce. Prices soared. Many families struggled to put food on the table. The elderly and the very young suffered the most. Among them was Fatima, an elderly widow. She lived with her 2 young grandchildren. They relied on her meager income from selling bread in the market. The drought had hit Fatima hard. With the shortage of grain, she couldn't bake enough bread. Her income dwindled. She could barely afford to feed her grandchildren. Fatima's heart ached for her hungry grandchildren. She felt despair creeping in. Fatima tried to remain hopeful. She prayed for rain every day, but the skies remained stubbornly clear. She knew she had to do something. Her grandchildren depended on her. One day, Fatima decided to swallow her pride. She would go to the wealthy merchant Samir. She had heard whispers of his generosity. Maybe, just maybe, he could help. Samir listened intently as Fatima poured out her woes. He saw the desperation in her eyes. He felt a surge of compassion for the elderly widow and her grandchildren. He knew he had to help. Samir thought for a moment. He wanted to help Fatima, but he also wanted to preserve her dignity. Then, a plan began to form in his mind, a plan that would offer Fatima more than just charity. Samir smiled gently at Fatima. He told her he had a special task for her. He explained that he had received a large order for embroidered garments. He needed someone with nimble fingers and an eye for detail. Fatima's eyes widened. She had always been skilled with a needle. In her younger days, she was known for her exquisite embroidery, but her old hands trembled these days. She hesitantly agreed to try. Samir's heart swelled with admiration. He could see the spark of hope returning to Fatima's eyes. Samir gave Fatima a bag of fine silks and threads. He promised to pay her generously for each completed garment. He instructed her to return in a week's time. Fatima left Samir's shop that day, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. She had a purpose again. Fatima returned home with a heart full of gratitude. She wasted no time. Her old hands moved with renewed purpose. She worked tirelessly, her needle dancing over the fabric. She poured all her love and skill into each stitch. She wanted to prove herself worthy of Samir's kindness. A week later, Fatima returned to Samir's shop. She proudly presented him with the completed garments. They were exquisite. Samir's heart swelled with pride. He showered Fatima with praise. He paid her handsomely for her work. Fatima left the shop, her purse heavier than it had been in years. She could finally buy food for her grandchildren. She could hold her head high again. Weeks turned into months. Fatima continued to work for Samir. She received a steady stream of orders. She never questioned their source. One day, Samir called Fatima to his shop. He confessed that he had invented the orders. He couldn't bear to see her struggle. Fatima's eyes welled up, but Samir wasn't finished. He proposed a partnership. They would combine their skills and build a business together. Fatima's exquisite embroidery would be the hallmark of their brand. Fatima accepted without hesitation. Together they built a thriving business. Their garments became renowned throughout Cairo. They brought joy to those who wore them. More importantly, they empowered Fatima and her family. They allowed them to live with dignity and hope. Their story spread throughout Cairo. It became a tale whispered in hushed tones. It was a reminder of the true spirit of Ramadan, a spirit of compassion, generosity, and empowerment. Samir and Fatima's legacy lived on long after that drought had ended. It proved that even in the face of adversity, kindness and hope could prevail.